Oh, you're going live. It says watch live now. I got the post notification. Is it live?
Hey Ryan,
Ryan.
what's up, buddy?
What's up, Brian? What's
Mass
up,
Bassin,
man?
how you doing? Scott, good evening.
Good evening, Scott.
Adam, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Adam?
All right, guys, so we're gonna give it a moment and get a few folks on here, and we're gonna talk about some snook this evening.
What's up, Outdoor Adventures?
Peyton, how you doing, buddy? All right, guys, so we're hooked up to the hotel Wi-Fi this time. We're over here in Jupiter doing some branding and things for the business. I got Chris with me this evening. So let me know how the stream goes, guys. If it's good, then we'll stay on this. If not, then we'll go to the jetpack. Angry Fish, Jits player, how you doing?
Says we're healthy right now, so that's good. Did you tell him the topic of discussion?
So, guys, if you haven't saw by the title and obviously the thumbnail tonight, Snook 101 over here on the Gulf side. Snook season just opened, so figure it might be a popular topic for you guys. Youngblood, how you doing? Josh Wiley. All right, that's good to hear. All right, so we got a few folks watching now, so let's go ahead and jump right in. What do you guys want to know about snook fishing? Go ahead with your questions, and we're going to do a Q&A type video this evening. Hey, Chorn.
Oh, you've never caught one angry fish? You gotta get on one, man.
Oh, and I want to say, guys, that I've definitely been noticing the participation on some of the videos. A lot of you guys have been posting on them. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. And I'll be announcing more information about the giveaway here very soon. And what I'm going to do to make it somewhat fair is I'm actually going to choose, I'm going to put a few of you guys that have been very active on there, and I'm going to draw one of you based off of that. That way, it's not completely biased.
How far north are you, Angry? What do you think as far as structure?
How far north? Well, that's the thing. Angry fish snook tend to obviously not do so well with the cool temperatures. When you get under 45 degrees, it can actually be detrimental for their health. Therefore, they're very lethargic at that point and they die. So I don't know how much further up north past Tampa they go, but usually, Central Florida and down, further down, they do very well, of course. How you doing, Robert? All right, for fishing the mangroves edges, guys, we got a few different things, a few different lures. The X-Wrap is one that's really good. A spoon is very productive for snook fishing. Of course, you have your gulp that works. It's not my go-to, and then of course a fly for your fly fishing. What do you think, Chris?
I would go live bait for mangrove edges. Just a greenback, even shrimp.
You could definitely go live bait. We all know that. You could chum them, go out, cast net, a bunch of greenbacks, and use the bat, chum them up that way.
As far as what technique to use, I would go with all different kinds. You need to change it up if you're not getting any bites on jerking it. You need to slow it down a little bit. Just figure out what the fish are biting that day.
Big O, Really, a lot of that has to do with, the temperature. If it's cooler water, with all fish, you want to slow it down a little bit. But as the water starts to heat here in the spring, the fish become very active, so you can work it quite a bit faster. And a lot of these fish, they're moving out from the rivers onto the flats, and they're schooling. So they're actually a lot more aggressive, and therefore they kind of compete for the baits, so you can work it a little faster.
Robert, I've never fished South Texas,
Oh,
so
Robert, I have fished South Texas. I have a little experience with this. Thanks to Andy and Joe over at Hook, Line, and Sinker. Your fishery is fantastic. Probably the best red fishery I've ever seen besides like Louisiana. But to answer your question, is the best way to catch them down there is pretty much to follow the schools. They're massive schools. And what we were doing, where we were literally gliding right up on them and casting a down south jerk bait or some type of jerk bait into the school, and we would get triple, quadruple hookups that way. Um, but even in the grass, I've never seen a population more dense of redfish anywhere. They were everywhere over there. It's no wonder why you guys can keep like 50 a day.
Samuel, as far as getting close to the mangroves using a trolling motor, I would always recommend just keep a good casting distance away. But I've been extremely close to mangroves with a trolling motor and not managed to scare fish as long as you're extremely quiet. But I would stick with casting distance. Plus, you don't want to, destroy the mangroves too by getting too close.
Yeah, Samuel, as the tide comes in, those snook will hold real tight to cover. And what I like to do, especially with live bait fishing, is I like to draw them out with those chummies. If you throw the chummies a few feet in front of the mangroves, you'll notice those snook will start to leave their safe place, so to speak, to come out and pursue those baits. So do that, hook you up, a thread fin or a greenback, and free line it using maybe a 1/0 or 2/0 hook, sling it in there with them, and you'll hook up for sure.
You want to explain the migration?
Yeah, hang on one. So angry fish, the snook can be leader shy, but typically I don't have too much trouble with them. When they're eating, they're eating. William, the migration, as in winter type patterns in central Florida. When the water starts to cool down, those fish like to find deep holes, rivers, estuaries like that. So, like for example, near me, the Little Manatee River, when that water starts to cool, they'll migrate back slowly back into the rivers and go get pretty deep back in there. And then as it starts to warm, they'll slowly transition to the flats. And then ultimately, as summer comes around, then they'll move to the beaches. Big O and Cockroach Bay. They're all over Cockroach Bay. Right now, with the transition into the spring weather, you can actually go out in Cockroach Bay right at the boat ramp and catch snook literally at the boat ramp. Look for, right as that tide starts to switch to go out, look for a nice strong tide, use some live bait, and all through that channel, even going all the way out into the bay, there's snook all along that channel. It's amazing this time of year.
Scott, as far as baiting a live shrimp, you can either go in the hard part of the tail or the hard part, up near the head. You just gotta miss the brain. Focus on not hitting the brain. If you hit the brain, the shrimp's gonna die. Also, too, sometimes if you just get very unhealthy shrimp, from the bait shop, they tend to die very easily.
Yeah, one thing, Scott, is that transition for the water temperature too. A lot of the bait shops, they'll keep their water temperature very cool, and then what happens is the shrimp gets placed into the warmer water, whether it be the bay or whatnot, and they go into shock, and that's why you see a lot of them die. So just trying to transition them that way. Make sure you're not hooking them in the brain or the ganglion, which is that gray matter right behind the horn. Make sure you're hooking them right in the horn, and you'll see that they live a lot better that way.
How's it going, Kevin? Good to see you back. And no, well, I don't know. Did you change your ringtone?
Oh, I muted the phone this time, guys. I know that was probably a little annoying. My phone was firing off last live stream.
Um, Big O. That's that just depends on the what they want to bite that day. Go with if you're gonna do top water, do it in the morning. Suspended baits you can do pretty much any time. Hard baits, it really just depends on what they're biting that specific time of the day. So you just got to play around with it. What do you think?
Yep, absolutely. Robert, where are you at, buddy? Snook actually do like noisy baits and top water. Low light conditions, early morning, late evening, you definitely want to go with the top water. And there's a whole bunch of different top waters, but as I told you in my other live stream, Czar Spook is my go-to bait. What is yours for top
Wait,
water?
oh, for top water, just any kind of spook. Sorry, I was focused on another question.
Angry fish, bigger fish definitely need stronger leaders, and depending on if you're on the east or the west coast, obviously the east coast snook are typically larger and they live longer, actually lifespan of 15 years compared to 12 years on the Gulf side. But anyhow, those fish are usually around structure, jetties, bridges, things like that. That's how you see a lot of them caught, like Juneau Pier, Sebastian Inlet. Go heavy. You can go 40 to 80 pound mainline if you have to, and then even 80 to 100 pound test fluorocarbon because those gills are sharp, guys. You want to use big baits. Most effectively that I've seen on the East Coast when they're doing that is using a knocker style rig, maybe like a 1 to 2 ounce lead with a swivel, then your leader, and then a hook. And you're going to obviously use a big bait, such as a croaker, pigfish, ladyfish, or mullet.
As far as bridge fishing, I would go with like a bucktail or a spoon. A big flutter spoon or something, and of that nature.
Yeah, Gilly, the same thing. The knocker rig with the big live baits next to the bridge pilings is great for live bait. And then red tail hawk is probably one of the best bridge jig slash lures that you can use, and I'm very successful with the tarpon as well using that lure.
How's it going, Heisenberg? Good to see you back in the chat.
Hang on, let me see. Um,
You want to go up?
yeah. Peter planning to fish the Skyway. Um, Snook rigs for the Skyway over there. I mean, you're going to have to go with that knocker rig. That current is super strong, and you're probably going to have your most luck right in that transition tide as it switches over, because the current is super strong. Make sure you get up near the big green dolphins and fish that area around those structures with live bait. You're welcome, Scott. Go back up real quick. Jacob, I've been fishing since I was 5 years old, and I'm an old fella now, I suppose. So over 25 years.
Yeah, I've been fishing ever since I could remember. So anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6. So 15, 16 years.
Absolutely, Big O. Walking the dog is the way to go. Walk the dog, just pause, walk the dog, pause, and then try your steady retrieves. Different cadence, and see what's effective, because it depends. A lot of times they'll hit when the fish, when the lure stops, then sometimes you get that strike. Sometimes they just want to aggressively pursue it, and they'll strike as it's hightailing it out of there.
And sometimes they strike it when you start twitching it again. Lots of times you can get their attention by pausing it, and then when you start twitching it again, they'll react to that.
Yeah, Jacob, I never used a CUDA tube for snook, but I imagine they would potentially hit it if you could fish it and get it in front of them, but it wouldn't be my first choice of lures for snook fishing. Okay, Robert, yeah, I was down there near Padre Island, and like I said, that place is just packed full of redfish. Beautiful fishery.
Call as far as putting a rig under a popping cork, I'd go with a gulp live shrimp, or the shrimps, or just a DOA shrimp.
Yeah, the DOA shrimp is one of my favorites for the popping cork. And of course, anything with gulp is good. That scent, the noise, with the scent, or even if you procured some of your baits, you put those two combinations together and they're deadly.
No problem, Angry Fish.
All right, you're very welcome, Angry. I'm glad you guys liking it. How are you guys liking these live streams? You like them weekly? Heisenberg, that's a good point. If they're handling them a lot and the temperature fluctuations, there's a lot involved there, so that could play a big factor as well.
Get hooked fishing 96. I actually fished the Boca Grande area a ton when I was growing up, probably till the time I was about 14, 15, and then stopped going down there. I know the snook fishery down there was crazy back in the day. I don't know how it is now, but I'm sure it's still great. Boca Grande's always been a great fishery.
Cork technique, there's a bunch of different corks out there, guys. I mean, you can use. Actually, I have a couple videos on them. You may want to watch my popping cork video. But I think it's the Paradise cork. They make a titanium. It's got a titanium wire and the cork on there. I like that one, guys, because when it bends, it flexes back into place, and you don't go through a ton of corks. But for cork, honestly, Big O, some of these snook are really smart. So I don't fish a lot with the cork with artificial. Typically, I use a cork when I'm live baiting, or I free line for snook. Um, but the cork is more effective, I think, towards redfish and trout, in my opinion.
It's good to hear, Cole. We're glad you enjoy the live streams. Same to you, Big O.
Yeah, you can get, I think it's Gilly pronounced. You could definitely get them on eBay. The size of the jig or the weight is going to, obviously, the depth that you're fishing, and the current is going to be the factor that determines what weight. But, a half ounce, I've always had very good success with the half ounce jig. A lot of times, if you're bridge fishing and if you're up high, you can see the shadows. You can see the snook sitting in that shadow line. You throw that red-tailed hawk down the shadow line and just give a steady retrieve, keeping it out of the shadow line, and you'll be surprised. There's some monsters that lurk in that shadow line. And when they hit it, you better hold on because they're going to take you for a ride.
Angry Fish, the world record is 53 pounds and 10 ounces. I'm
Yep.
not sure where it was caught.
Yeah, 53 pounds, 10 ounces, which is a Mogan.
Do you know where it was caught? I don't.
All right, thanks, Scott. We appreciate that feedback. Hey, Josh, that's okay. We do it all. I'm actually been on a big freshwater kick lately, as you can see with my latest videos, but I'm going to get some saltwater out there to you guys. I know that's what you all been craving. You're welcome, Gilly. Yeah, Heisenberg, I've been looking at those spool techs, and I hear a lot of good things about them, and I think I might give them a shot here soon, sooner than later. Big O, the tides drastically impact the bite for the snook. If you want your best success, look for a nice high incoming, and that transition to outgoing is when I have my best luck with the good snook fishing. And you want to try to get around those new and full moons. Especially, I love new moon fishing because the full moon, a lot of times those fish tend to feed later. But in that new moon, you got a really strong tide. They feed really well, especially during the major and minor times. So pay attention to those, and take the time to track your progress and make sure you're keeping a small log if you want. And that way, because fish, the pattern isn't going to change that drastically. You're going to see that the fish every year, depending on just a few things, barometric pressure, uh, wind, water temperature, and major and minor periods, the fish are going to feed pretty much the same way.
I'm not. I don't know what the best glasses are, $100 or less. Um, I don't know. Josh has a good pair of backup sunglasses that he uses sometimes, or that I've used
Yeah,
before.
Max, I don't have any that are 100. I use Maui Gems, and I'm a big fan of Maui Gems. You run a couple $100, but man, the quality is there.
Anything with a good polarization, you can't go wrong with. So
Yeah, look for a good polarization, and just there. You have a dark lens for bright sunny days, then you have that amber lens for cloudy days or murkier water, and that'll help you, be able to see the fish a little better.
snook are usually running right, where the waves are crashing. As far they're really normally really close to the shoreline where I fish. They're not normally out too far.
Angry fish, that's what's ironic is that a lot of people that are surf fishing believe that you have to cast your reel past a sandbar or a break. But what they don't realize is the snook are literally 3 to 4 feet from the break. So next time you're out at the beach, get your polarized glasses and look. The snook are actually swimming through the people's legs, and they have no idea. That's how close they are to you.
Yeah, you'll just see a shadow moving right through the wave. When a wave goes like that, you'll just see a shadow, and it continuously moves. If you kind of look, down the beach instead of at the water, you'll see them either coming at you or going away from you.
Exactly. Uh, Cut bait, Big O does work for snook, and it actually works really good in the heat of the summer. And what happens is these fish get, just like winter, they get lethargic because oxygen levels are lower. The water is really warm, and these fish don't want to chase or pursue bait. So a fresh, and that's the key word, fresh chunk mullet, chunk threadfin, or greenback, the snook will eat those all day long in the summertime.
I've never fished the Miami area, so I couldn't really tell you, especially for snook. Stewart either. I mean, we fished Stewart once, but didn't really catch anything.
Over on that coast, Max, like in this area in Jupiter and stuff, I mean, you got like the Juneau Pier, the Sebastian Inlet up a little north of here. Those are ideal spots, and I mean, the snook, the numbers are all over the place. As a matter of fact, it's a great fishery for snook.
Glad you're teaching your boys to fish, Big O.
Yeah, Big O E.G. Simmons is a good place. It could be a little bit more difficult of a place to fish, but there are some big snook, especially in some of them deep cuts or deep canals. You're going to find that there's some big snook working around there. And again, use larger baits. Sometimes even finger mullet is what it's going to take to get that big fish. But there's some big ones around there.
Dino, I don't believe you. You trolled us too many times last time. I'm sure a comment will come
Oh,
sometime this evening.
there you are, Dino. We were wondering where you were at. All right, well, we appreciate that, sir. Quico Barber. Am I pronouncing that right? I hope so.
I don't know. I tried.
I don't want to offend anybody.
We'll just call you Barber.
Anglerfish areas that hold bigger snook. I like finding the bigger snook on the bridges. That's where you're going to find the larger snook, and they're all over Sarasota, all over the Tampa Bay, and even in the summertime when the water gets really warm, looking at the docks with the lights on them, you can have a lot of success fishing those docks with lights, and you beat the sun, so it's a win-win situation.
Robert, you don't need to be chiming in on that.
Oh, there you go, Robert. Don't get him fired up. All right, good to know. All right, Hot Rod, thanks for joining us, buddy. I don't know how long you've been watching, but you can hook them a lot of different ways, and it's going to be dependent on the rig and you know what you're trying to accomplish here. If you're in shallow water, the most natural way that you can present it is going to work most of the time the best way, and that way is through the clear part, the hard part of the nose of that bait fish. And 90% of the time, that's how I'm going to hook them. Now, if I want to try something different to try to get a reaction strike, then I'll hook them towards the back, maybe that anal fin, near that, something like that. Gandy Bridge holds big snook. Causeway, um, Skyway. There's a lot of small bridges over in Fort DeSoto that hold a lot of big snook. It's just getting out there, especially nighttime. Nighttime is a great time to target these big snook.
Yeah. Dino's out here trying reverse psychology.
I'll tell you that Dino, he's a tricky fella, guys. I don't know. Let me see what some other things I wanted to talk to you about these snook.
Did you guys know Atlantic snook live longer than Gulf snook? They
Yeah,
live for about 15 years, whereas Gulf snook only live for about 12.
yeah. Quickle Barber, I'm actually planning on doing what they call a salty scales slam fishing tournament. I was supposed to do it last year. I was going to do it last year, but wow, did we get tied up with all kinds of different things, events, just the whole business side of the things just got us where we were not able to put that on. But if you look on Facebook, guys, Salty Scales, of course, you could look at that, and Salty Scales Slam, it has a Facebook page. I'm hoping to try to get that going this year. It'll be an annual tournament, and of course, this would be the first. And what it would be, the Salty Scales Slam would focus on redfish, snook, and trout. The largest of the three species would be, take the cake and win the tournament. But then there would be prizes for however many others, which is second, third, fourth place.
Angry fish, yes, the cold, or well, yeah, snook will bite when it's cold, but they're really water sensitive or temperature sensitive. When it gets cold, they really, really get lockjaw. So the answer is yes, they will bite. I mean, they have to eat at some point, but they really do get lockjaw, and they can be extremely hard to fish for when the water temperatures drop, especially when they drop quickly.
Yeah, angry fish just when snook. I mean, everything has to eat, to survive, and they will eat. But like Chris said, if it gets too cold, they will definitely shut down till it warms back up.
Uh, Greenbacks, Cole, in my opinion.
Yeah, Cole, mullet for big snook, greenbacks. Just if you're just fishing for snook in general, greenbacks are a great bait. But if you're looking for that Mogan live mullet,
Dino dropping a lure right on top of a snook. Yeah, it'll spook them. I mean, it'll spook any fish, but I almost feel like snook have a no care type attitude where if you drop it on top of them, if they're not going to eat, they're not going to eat it. They might not even swim anywhere. I mean, most of the time when I've dropped a lure right on top of a snook, they move a couple feet and then they just start sitting there again. So they kind of got an attitude to them, to be honest.
Big O, the season for snook it just opened. What was it? March 1st. It actually opened, and God, remind me when it runs till.
Isn't it only a month or like it's really short?
Yeah,
I really don't
no,
know.
I thought it was May 1st. I think it's May 1st. I don't keep snook, guys, as you probably heard in other videos. It's just a preference thing. It's all catch and release, but I believe it's from March to May, and it's a minimum of 28 to 33 inches on the Gulf side. Yeah, Scott, white and natural colors are my favorite for snook. I love, especially like if you're fly fishing a clouser fly or a bucktail, those are always very, very common.
It goes through April 30th, so just about to May.
April 30th, okay. Big O, if you see dolphins, forget snook. That's not true. It's like the fish, they're very cautious, obviously, and they're smart. They stay where the dolphins can't grab them. But if the dolphins if the dolphins are in the area, obviously it'll probably shut the bite down uh, for a little bit. But the snook don't stop feeding. If they're feeding, they're going to feed. Just might be when the dolphin, ride on out.
You turning it off anymore?
Yeah, Stephanie, my biggest snook was caught in a little Manatee River. Um, it was a Mogan, and I caught it on a Czar Spook Junior right at sunset. So it was, if I remember correctly, it was well over 40 inches. Not well, but 40, I want to say it was 42 inches or something like that.
We'll see you, Barber. Go take care of that baby.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping in.
Dino, just like we were talking about, all along if during the summer seasons, go to the beach and just look where the waves are breaking, and you can catch them. You just got to find them. They cruise along the beaches all summer long.
Yeah, Pier 60 is actually a great place to fish. If you've been over to Pier 60, then you've probably seen some big snook. Throwing them big bomber lures, red tail hawks, and live ladyfish are key over there. But you better up your tackle. You're going to use heavy gear because those fish are no joke. Those are the big girls, and usually summertime, late June, July, and August, you're going to see those big girls on the beaches, and they do eat big.
We appreciate the compliment, Big O.
Anywhere from the shore to catch snook. Oh my goodness, Dino. In my region, you have clear water. I mean, every good beach along our coast, especially here, um, from late May, June, July, August, it's going to be loaded with snook.
Angry Fish, as far as why do we? I mean, both of us release snook. I haven't kept a snook in so long. I don't know where you live or if you were in the last live stream, but over in the Tampa Bay area back, I don't know how many years ago it was when we had a big freeze. It killed a lot of the snook population, and to be honest, it's still rebounding. I haven't seen as many snook as when I was a kid now in a long time. So that's the reason why the snook are just slowly getting back to getting just a good population.
That's right, Big O. The freeze in 2009 is the reason I don't keep the snook. And in 2009, that freeze really impacted the population in my general region, and a lot of them died off. A lot of big fish died. And since then, I've just, I'd prefer to eat a trout, a grouper, a mangrove snapper, and let the snook live. Yeah, well, that winter was a winter to remember. That's
Yeah.
no joke.
Plus, like we said earlier, I mean they don't live long to begin with, so only 12 years, in the Tampa Bay area or the Gulf side.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, I hope you guys are, yeah, I hope you guys are excited about this snook season. There's nothing wrong, guys, with keeping a snook. It's a preference of mine. But if you can let them go, you got a picture, and you don't need to eat that particular fish. It definitely is good for the population. Yeah, Robert. The snook, a lot of times I'll base around the tides. I love fishing, like I said, that high tide, transitioning to outgoing, especially around strong tides. But you'll always do best an hour before sunrise, or an hour, before and after sunrise, and an hour before and after sunset, in my opinion.
Angry Fish, I saw your question earlier. I don't know the answer to that question as far as the difference in lifespan on the different coast. That's a good question. We'll have to look that up for you, but I really don't know the answer to it. Do you?
No, I actually don't. I can only imagine it has to do with something to do with water clarity. When you're on the East Coast right here, there's not a whole bunch of estuaries and things like large bodies of water, like say for example the Tampa Bay, and there's not as much sewage being dumped in those small areas. So, yeah.
It's good to hear, Big O. A lot of people need to practice catch and release.
Well, Dino, that's the thing. There's different thought process about that. Obviously, if you're keeping your culling, or you're taking the smaller mid-sized fish and you're eating them, and you're letting culling the larger fish go, then yeah, that absolutely makes sense. But I think, for me, it's just like I said, it's just a habit of letting them go since that terrible kill. That's cool, Big O. Absolutely. Well, there's nothing wrong with eating fish. I love fish, and I have a freezer full of fish. So, there's definitely nothing wrong. But I don't, I'm not one of those guys. I need to catch 50 fish to get a picture, and I'm not really gonna eat them or consume them.
You can say hi, Alex.
How you doing, Alex? Thanks for coming on, man. Oh, the red snapper population is absolutely absurd. Matter of fact, there was one just caught right outside of John's Pass just not too long ago, and as you know, it's rare for them to be in that close. But now what's happening is that red snapper population is becoming so abundant that it's actually consuming a lot of the other sport fish, such as the grouper. And the guys that are making the decision, or the lobbyists and things, they're PhD guys that have never even gotten their feet wet. They don't, they're not in the bay. I don't know where they get a lot of their facts, but there's always seems to be a monetary agenda, in my opinion. Someone's benefiting from it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with using a net, Big O. I've heard the slime theory before, but I don't think there's anything wrong. Honestly, I think it's almost better because you can, gently handle the fish instead of yanking it out of the water.
Big O, I don't personally usually use a net unless it's a Mogan. Um, I just get down there and lip them and get them out. I usually try not to lay them down. Just want to get the hook removed as quick as possible and get them on their way after my picture, or if it's for video or whatnot.
That's a good question, Angry Fish. It's been, what, years since the freeze, so, and they're still trying to recuperate. So it could be another 5 to 10 years till, we really see a healthy snook population again.
Angry, I see the fish rebounding. I see a lot of smaller juvenile fish, so we definitely see it already taking place. Those stricter regulations have helped in that sense. Now we just got to prevent all the hundreds of millions of dollars or 100 millions of gallons of waste from being dumped into the bays.
Sea Knox, as far as Boca Grande fishing, I haven't been there since I was a kid. I just remember always anchoring down by a bridge to catch snook. So
Yeah.
I just remember there was an old bridge that we used to always fish that was very, very popular for snook around there. So
Hey, Robert, actually, yes. On the flats, I'm going to fish, 15 to 20 pound mainline braid, and that's going to be of your choice. I use spider wire personally, and I'm usually going to use 25 to 40 pound leader, depending on the clarity of the water and if the fish are real spooky. Now, when you get next to structure, you got to beef that up. It's going to be anywhere from 50 to 80 pound mainline braid, and you're going to probably step it up to anywhere from 60 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader. Big O, I've caught snook in literally a foot of water, and they'll be sitting up under the mangroves. You won't even see them. They're just so far back up under there. That's why sometimes when you're fishing, you hear that popping. You can hear a very distinctive pop from a snook, because when he sucks in that water, there's nothing else like it. So you'll oftentimes hear them when you're near the
sounds like a
mangroves.
Capt gun.
Yeah, it does. And you'll hear them, and they're back there in that shallow stuff, trying to stay protected, especially with all the pressure in the bay.
FJ knot, Big O. Look up the FJ knot.
FG knot, Big O, is a good option, but the Alberto knot, which I just tied in my last video, showing you that tandem rig, that knot is superb. It's proven time and time again that it works. It's very popular for braid to mono application. Pollution will kill, and angry fish, I just wish, and that's why I love conservation. And that's why with salty scales we want to do more to make an impact on that, because we definitely can. I think we all can. Absolutely, Heisenberg. That's what you want to see is a bunch of baby snook because it shows that they're repopulating and they grow. Unlike redfish that can grow to 60 years, these guys only last 10 to 15 years at best. So they grow fairly quickly.
I'm not sure, Dino. I've heard that before. As far as when it comes to snook, I'm not too sure. But when it comes to bass, I always, instead of hooking them right up under the gill, I would just kind of pierce their lip because I know it would repair faster on the bigger ones at least.
Dino, what I like to do is take like a Boca grip or some type of fish grip and hook it to the lip in that sense, and just go ahead and weigh it from that instead of puncturing any type of holes in the fish. My favorite way to fish, Stephanie, for snook is live bait. Personally, that and the red tail hawk. Fishing the live bait around mangroves, which I call combat fishing. It's you and them, and you got to get them out of the mangroves, or you get broke off. And of course, the red tail hawk, watching them destroy that big old bucktail is always fun. Cole, the bone super spook is one of the best lures you can use, especially for top water. DOA Airhead, very good option, yes sir. That's what I was going to tell you guys. X-Wrap, very good hard bait option. Um, you got the Gulp, that's great. Top waters are spook, super spook. Um, what else am I forgetting, Chris?
I don't know.
For the lures.
I don't know. Honestly, I was reading this guy's comment. I don't know what you said.
Oh, fluke.
Yeah, I like flukes, guys. I've fished those on the beach all the time. I was telling Josh I've used a bunch of love lures as well to get them to bite.
Hey, that guy. Honestly, I would probably never disclose specific spots on an open web forum, but Fort Pierce, honestly, I don't have a lot of knowledge in that area, if I'm being honest with you. Thanks for the thumbs up, Josh. Fins braid.
I prefer the circle hook, personally, kayak Frank.
Mirror lures are great, guys. They're one of the lures that I always have in my box. So you want to match the hatch, get you something that looks as close to the greenbacks as you can, especially when they're abundant on the flats, and that's going to do real well for you. I usually fish with live or with circle hooks, kayak Frank. And the reason being, obviously, it's going to prevent a lot of gut hooks and things like that. It's going to save the fish, keep them in better operating order there, so that way they can go back and grow. Yeah, Stephanie, I am going to do that. The mystery tackle box lures, I got a bunch of them, guys. I got so much tackle. I'm probably going to have to start a tackle store here soon. But I am going to get out there and make some videos. That's what I want to ask you guys before y'all go. Post your comments down. I got a piece of paper, a notepad. What do you want to see a video on? And I'm giving you guys opportunity to tell me, as what we're going to do is those videos as you guys post them. We just need to know what's in demand. What do you want to see? What'll keep you interested? Yeah, Heisenberg, the Rapala X-Wrap, that thing is bad to the bone. What's the hatch? Match the hatch is just a saying that we use. You're pretty much going to want to utilize what's abundant in that particular area at that particular time. If it's a mullet run, obviously you're probably going to want to use a mullet. If the greenbacks are starting to move in there in the spring and summer onto the flats, you want to throw greenbacks. When the shrimp are more abundant and they're starting to come in, and they're running around in the grass, then you want to throw shrimp, and so forth. That's the idea of match the hatch.
I think you should do more offshore ground fishing.
Offshore? All right, I'll work on maybe getting out there and doing some offshore fishing.
I'll go hit the reefs.
That guy, good fishing spots. what you want to look for is deep cuts, water current, bait, and points. Fish are opportunistic feeders, as you've probably heard a million times. They don't want to chase. You know, they want something where they can ambush their prey, and it's an easy target. So when I'm looking for them, I look for good tidal flow on that outgoing, and I look for a point next to, if you can find something next to a deep channel or deep canal, you're usually going to have some snook in the vicinity. I can be willing to bet.
Heisenberg, just like you said, I don't think we can round up all the red snapper out there. There's too many of them. I don't know what you mean by that, Dino, when you say, what do you guys want to see? If you post in the comments what you want to see, Josh is more than willing to try and make the video.
Dino, you wouldn't be so lucky, brother. Go round up the red snapper, Heisenberg. Man, I need a bigger boat to do that. Yeah, Tyler, I love fly fishing. I want to do more of it. Right now is a great time for snook. Maybe, where's that pen at, Chris? Let me write some of these down. Because, like I said, we're going to implement these in the videos, guys. Big O, tides, I could definitely go in and do a video. I have to figure out how I can format it to where it actually is a video and not completely boring. I don't want my guys falling asleep on me.
Tides are complicated, you know. You gotta.
Big
That takes a lot of experience.
Not really, not a whole ton of experience, but it does take a little bit, and there's not a whole lot to learn. Once you get out there and you understand them a little bit, there's not a whole lot to it. All right, Tyler, so you said fly fishing. Writing this stuff down, guys. Fly fishing. Cole, yeah, oyster beds are ideal. I should have mentioned that. Go out, guys, while the water's low on these winter negative lows, go out and look at the bottom, guys, and really learn the area that you're fishing, whether it be oyster structures, deep pockets. These snook utilize all these things and utilize them for ambush areas.
Javon, we talked about that a little earlier. I'm sorry if you weren't in here. Best baits, there's so many different kind of baits you can use. Top water, you got spooks, live bait, mullet, pilchards. There are all kinds of different baits. You can throw a gulp under a popping cork. Did you write reading the beaches?
What?
Can you do a video about how to read the beaches? I think he's talking about for snook.
What do you mean reading the beaches? Angry fish in the summertime? Honestly, on that high tide, on the high tide is what you're looking for. But in the summertime, those fish are going to be on the beach. And especially around jetties. If there's a beach and a jetty here close, and you could bet there's going to be snook, and you're going to be at a sight fish for them. But yeah, I could probably do something like that this summer for you.
C-Dub, we will check your Instagram. We will check it out. Hopefully you're wearing a salty scale shirt.
How use a mirror and try taking did well. How are we going to have a problem spinning twitch baits? Danny, your spinning twitch baits are floating? Well, that's kind of strange. Are you? I mean, what's happening there? Are you getting tangled up? Or are you hanging on the grass? Because if it's suspended, it should definitely be sinking. I haven't had that problem.
Tides for dummies.
You do a tackle tour freshwater bass? Yeah, Cole, that's a good one. I actually had a few people ask me about that, so I could definitely do that. Tackle tour.
Red snapper caught on Chick-fil-A.
I don't
That
know.
might actually be a challenge, but I don't know. I don't know.
Freshwater.
I might eat it before the red snapper does, to be honest with you.
Heisenberg, I could be fishing for 365 days a year and not get that on that Chick-fil-A. The problem is I would probably end up eating it before it hit the bottom.
Javon, the spin fisher, is a
For
great reel.
freshwater.
Actually, last week on our live stream, I don't know if you were here or not. We talked about the spin fisher. They're a phenomenal reel for their price.
Yeah, spin fishers are very good reels in my opinion. Heavy duty, great for live bait, and not ideal for artificials and things because they are a heavy outfit. But for quality and the money, you can't go wrong with that. Jits player, there's always a ton of bait at the Skyway. I mean, literally, that bridge holds bait. I'm pretty sure 365 days a year. Um, the idea when there's that kind of bait is to make your bait stand out, whether it be crippling them or whatever you have to do. Throw it out there and rig it in different fashions to catch the attention of the fish you're targeting. Were there a lot of mackerel out there at the Skyway? I don't want to get off tangent here.
That's an interesting challenge, Ryan. Very interesting.
Catching catfish?
With catfish.
You need catfish to catch catfish. Okay, catching catfish challenge. I might do that, Ryan. I usually hate catching them like we all do, but catching catfish.
Go to the grocery store fishing hour. That's a good video idea.
That guy, a reasonable setup would be like a spin fisher, 4 or 5,000, 5,000 probably, or a Shimano with like a St. Croix, Avid or heavy Mojo, something like that, and that'll do the job just fine.
Yeah, the dolphin will do that, Danny.
That big O, I'm just not that. I can't bring myself to like Ugly Stick or Shakespeare for that matter. Just never been a big fan. Big O, top water. I want to use that loop knot directly to your bait, and that'll give you the it won't restrict your bait, so you get the most action out of it, and that's where you get a really good side-to-side walk. Catch a snook on a little kid's rod. Oh, Robert, we're actually supposed to do a challenge here soon, where all of us are going to be fishing with little rods. Yeah, I do want to do some collabs, Josh. I actually have talked with Landshark, or I chatted with Landshark via messaging, and we're going to be trying to get together to do a collab here sooner than later.
I think we're all cheap, Big O.
John, the T-Rain pliers off of Amazon, I've tried a lot of different pliers, and obviously some of those things can get expensive. But T-Rain on Amazon, I think they're $50. They've lasted me the longest for the money. Yeah, the winds are obnoxious. We're over here in Jupiter, and I mean, it's blowing 25 out there with, they said, 10, 11-foot seas, so.
I don't know, angry fish. I miss one of my biggest bass on an ugly stick.
Cole, I've never caught a wahoo. I've fished for them and I've seen them. I've not caught one. Maybe I should add that on my list of fish to catch on video. That's all right, Big O. You don't have to have the most expensive equipment to catch good fish. Trust me on that. It's really preference. If it works for you, and that is all that matters. I know, Dino, you are a Guggen Squad fanatic.
I don't know what kind of sunscreen I use. Just the sports one, the blue one.
I just use that banana boat stuff. It seems to work really good. But I try to cover up with obviously my shirts and buffs. It's a lot less sticky, a lot less messy. I don't have to keep reapplying. You're welcome, John. Yeah, Danco makes a good plier, Heisenberg. I've used them. You have to change out their blades quite frequently, but they are good.
We're out here for business, Heisenberg.
Yeah, you couldn't fish out there right now. I promise you that.
You look at the beach, and it's just
yeah, it's blowing.
some big waves that we don't see on the west coast of Florida too often.
And guys, we'll be down in Marathon next weekend. So any of you guys down in Marathon, we're gonna join the Marathon Seafood Festival next weekend, and we'll be hanging out down there.
Yeah, if any of you guys are in Marathon, please come by and see us. Or if any of you guys are in Jupiter, come out and see us too.
Thanks, Robert. So I got a list, guys. I got Big O, Tides for Dummies. Tyler wants a fly fishing video. Kayak Frank wants me to catch some snook on video. Angry Fish, snook fishing on the beach. Cole Woods, tackle tour of all the freshwater gear. And Ryan, he wants to see us catch catfish with catfish.
Which one do you like better, Robert? The black one or the camo one?
Hey, and guys, I got one of you guys over here always disliking my videos. Which one of you are the troll?
I think it's Dino.
Dino, are you trolling me by disliking all my videos that I put all my hard effort into? You come clean. Peter, we use both live baits and plastics.
You gotta use both.
Live baits is a guaranteed. I mean, you can almost guarantee a fish with live bait, regardless.
With the awful winds, I would go more like offshore fishing. Depending on what kind of boat you have, or something like that. But I hate flats fishing when it's windy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the windy conditions, guys, it's not always a bad thing. It's obviously a lot more difficult to fish with windy conditions, but the fish, they don't care. Now, when it rains, they always go in because they don't want to get wet. So that's a different story.
Dino's getting defensive now.
No, I didn't think it was you, Dino. And don't worry, I don't care, buddy. I was just throwing that out there. I do have a troll, but it doesn't bother me.
People are liking the camo hat.
What about that canned corn, Stephanie? No, I appreciate you guys all, and like I said, no. We got to accuse someone, Dino. You give us a hard time, we got to return the favor every once in a while. But we're here to make friends, so don't worry. We're not going to hold it against you. So yeah, we're going to be doing some different things, guys, and oh, absolutely, Robert. When you put that camo on, the fish don't see you. You're virtually invisible.
With any salty scale shirt, you blend right in.
But so, guys, I'm coming up on an hour on this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this evening's Snook 101. I hope I answered most of your questions.
We actually stayed on topic this time.
Yeah, we did.
Pretty much the whole video.
We did try to stay on topic for the most part. Yeah, we know, Dino. Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't heard a lot of people using canned corn for flounder. That's a first for me. VMC circle hook's a great hook, Peter. J hooks not so much. They're you're gonna get those those times where they swallow it, and it's really not good for them. The circle hook will keep them protected, keep them safe. But with a snook, I try to get away with the smallest hook that I can use that'll obviously get the job done. And that's always determined by the size of the bait that I use.
Good to hear, Ryan. We appreciate it. Cole, we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you next time as well. And then Big O, hopefully we see you next time as well.
Hey guys, and for all you that don't know, we're on Instagram at Salty Scales. We're on Facebook. Go check it out. We're very active on there as well during the week. So when you're not seeing me on YouTube, we're putting things up on Instagram. Send us your Salty Scales pictures, especially with our gear, and we'll feature you, make you famous for a day. Yeah, what's your question, Ryan? Ryan, I haven't tarpon fish out of a pond, but I know up in Tampa and the golf courses there's definitely some tarpon around. But every time it seems like you go in there, there's so many dang no fishing signs these days. It's I don't know. People would prefer you to murder someone than go out there and fish, it seems, these days.
We'll see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Jizz Player. Dino, it's good talking to you, buddy. Angry Fish. Ryan Heisenberg, always, brother. We like talking with you guys. And until next time.
Are we going to be here next week?
Yeah, we're going to tune in. The next live stream, guys, will be probably next Saturday down in the Keys. We will tune in and we'll figure out a good topic, a discussion, and go from there.
We'll try and post the video or schedule the video a little earlier next time. This one was kind of done a little last minute, but we'll let you guys know the exact time a little sooner.
Yeah, plan, guys, next weekend, Saturday, it's going to be 9 or 10 o'clock, pretty much kind of like tonight. But Heisenberg, I know if you go out there and you throw a fly, I'd be willing to almost bet you that you'll catch a tarpon. And if you can't catch them, just call me. I'll come and fish for them and catch them. Thanks, Stephanie.
No, don't go. Well, we're sorry, Stephanie. We've been in here for an hour already.
Yeah, we've been up since like 6 o'clock this morning working, guys. I'm dead. I'm going to go sleep now. But hey, until next time, next weekend, guys, tune in Saturday, 10 o'clock. We're going to do it again. We'll see you then.
See you guys.